Hello, legends and super legends. Welcome to Veloharmony Live Subscriber Hangout. I want to welcome all of you in the middle of the week here. It's raining here. It's cloudy. It's been raining since the wee hours of the morning. I actually welcome the rain because it's keeping the temperatures down, so it's kind of nice. But parts of the area is going to get a lot of rain to where there'll be flooding and stuff. So there's a flash flood watch out for everybody in the area, because we're supposed to get like 8 inches at some point. So when you get that much in a short period of time, the runoffs just can't be handled very well. Today we're doing our patron of the month, and the program selected Chris Rippey of Azusa, California. Let's see here. He's going to get a new Rafa, what do they call it? These are arm warmers, classic arm warmers. A good day he lives in California, so he can use them in the morning when he's heading out because their temperatures are still low in the morning. Then it warms up. So this is the classic arm warmers in white with a black line on it. And I will ship that out to him next week. So congratulations, Chris Rippey. We appreciate you supporting the channel. You're our patron of the month. Put that over there for outgoing shipping stuff. So I hope your week has gone well. We had a good ride on Saturday. I also rode on Sunday with the WCC boys. So I got a lot of kilometers in. I'm tapering off this week. It's kind of like a rest week for me. So I only rode like an hour yesterday, and I'm just going to spin indoors for maybe half an hour this evening just to stay loose and do a workout tomorrow, Thursday, to get ready for the weekend. But so about 2 hard workouts in the middle of the week, and then I'll be ready for the weekend. Normally I do a lot more than that. But after a block of time, I also try to give myself some rest. So I'm going to be kind of letting my body absorb the training. There's a guy named Tony Sweet that leaves comments on the channel. He's one of our legends. And he said his wife watches the videos with him. She said that I was looking smaller. Which, I mentioned in the video I've lost like 4 kilos since December, about 8 pounds or so. But his comment was, if you keep riding like you're doing, you're going to disappear. And I thought that was funny. But I'm not trying to lose weight. Your body just reformats. It's not so much a matter of losing weight as opposed to leaning out. So the body just kind of changes, you don't have anything in your midsection. It burns out all the extra stuff, and you get really lean, and your body gets efficient. You have low body fat. If you pinch your skin, you don't have much in there. It just leans you out. And other than that, I continue to eat like I always do. But yes, my volume is higher. So that as you get fitter, you just get leaner. Especially in the summer, you really lean out. So you got to watch that. So I drink more in the summer. Electrolytes as well as a lot of water. Alls 100, how you doing? Ian, welcome. I was just talking about the guy Tony Sweet's wife who said that I was looking smaller, and he made the joke that if I keep riding like I'm doing, I'm going to disappear. No, your body will only lose what you need to. The body's efficient. Just don't starve yourself. That's why I've mentioned in the past about people who say they want to do, like they call fasting while they train. I never do that. I make sure I have enough fuel. This time of year, I make sure I have a lot of liquids. When I ride solo during the week, if it's hot, I take 3 bottles. That's the 500 milliliter bottles. I take 3, and they're all insulated bottles. I put ice in there, water, ice, electrolyte, whatever. And so that 2 hours into the ride, I have a cold drink. It makes a big difference. You can tolerate the temperature so much better. And with the water, sometimes I pour it on my neck. That's why I wear that bandana that lays on my neck. Makes a difference. You keep your spine kind of covered. Big difference. So like Saturday's ride, I was very comfortable. And you have to change the texture of your clothing in the summer. Wear lighter stuff. Don't wear the same stuff you wear in the winter. Raul, welcome from the Dominican Republic. Welcome, my brother. Ian said, I wish I could waste away. No, you just keep riding. The key is to be consistent. And what will happen is, here's what happened. I talked to Jerry Lutner about it. You guys, if those of you who've been following the group rides, a guy named Jerry Lutner who rides in the air, very strong rider. He's like 210 pounds, just a naturally big guy. And all the time we've been riding, he rides a lot. He rides like sometimes 600 kilometers a week, But 2 weeks ago, I was at the stop and I looked at him and I told him, man, you've lost some weight. So to see somebody every weekend and to see that they've lost weight, that's significant because usually if you don't see them for a while. So he was a bit surprised and he said, does this mean I'm getting old? And I told him, we're all old. I said, no, it means you're getting fitter. But what happens is this, you train and train and train. And at some point, the body kind of kicks to another level. And that's what I told him. So he's been riding a lot consistently, and you hadn't noticed much. And then all of a sudden, it's like the body reaches a point where it takes you to another level. All of a sudden, he just started dropping some weight, and then he will settle down again. So it's almost like you lean out. You don't really lose a lot of weight per se. Your body just kind of reformats. Because what he told me, like me, he's getting a lot of his clothes altered because his size has changed over the years. Because I spent a lot of time at the alterations, my jerseys, my shirts and stuff, and my dress pants. I've had to get the waist altered in my dress pants over the years to where the lady knows me. I get a discount when I go because I take a bunch at a time, to keep the affordability reasonable. And she measures me and gets stuff done. So my weight has not changed recently, but since, let's say, 2002, when I used to be like 235, because I could carry the weight, I'm at 189 right now, something like that. So that's over time. So I gradually take batches of clothing to get them altered, especially in my cycling jerseys. So I went from an XL to an L in cycling jerseys. And thankfully, Rafa has a program where if it happens in 12 months, they'll give you a discount when you have to upgrade, because of your size. You have to get more jerseys. So that's kind of cool. So there's a lot of good stuff. So the key is to just stay consistent. Don't worry about what you're losing. Don't worry about, weighing yourself all the time. The reason I noticed I had lost weight was I looked at myself in the mirror and I'm like, man, you're looking kind of thin there. And then I went and weighed myself. And so I noticed that a couple of kilos had left since December. So that's kind of cool. Ian, thank you, my brother. Brett says, Eldred, greetings from Quinlan, Texas. Oh, okay, you're here. Thanks for all you do for long solo bike rides. Do you worry about leaving your bike outside while stopping at a store for water and bathroom breaks? Yes. My bike is never out of my sight. In fact, those of you who watch I don't know if you watch our group rides, Brett, we often stop at Taco Corner. The places where we stop regularly is not that big of a concern because you've got, say, 12 riders, and then plus we meet other riders. So when you have a lot of cyclists in a place, you don't have to be concerned too much about it. But I never leave my bike out of my sight. When it's just Paul and I, if we're in an area where we can't see the bike, one of us stays with the bikes while the other one goes in to use the restroom or whatever. So yes, that is a concern. Because you can't really lock it. Because somebody could take your bike and just throw it in a truck and they're gone. So yeah, we don't leave the bikes out of our sight, but a place where we frequent as cyclists, as long as there are a bunch of cyclists there, I don't worry that much about it. No rider will see somebody taking a bike and throw it in a pickup truck and just let that happen. So we don't have those problems. But when you're alone, yes. In fact, it's funny you asked that. Saturday, after we left the group, Paul and I spun in together because we always do more than the group. And we stopped at an HEB. We took our bike inside. In fact, one of the guys in the gardening center at the HEB told us, oh, yeah, put them over here. We took them inside. We don't leave our bikes because we're going to get water. HEB has these machines where you can select by button with the sodas, and then they have a button for water. Then they have ice. So that's why we went there. We're reloading just to reload our bottles. So, yes, don't leave your bike out of your sight, especially if you're by yourself. So if you go to a store and it has glass windows, then place your bike where you can see it when you enter the store. Because all I go in there for is to buy something or get water or whatever. I place it where I can see it. But when you have other cyclists, always have somebody watching the bikes. Great question. Take nothing for granted. That's your ride. So yeah, you're right about that. So Ian says, yeah, it's true. My shape is changing even when not losing weight. Yes, that's what it is. The muscle weighs more than fat. So as you burn fat, your weight will not dramatically change. Now, it doesn't mean that over time you won't lose weight. You will. But if you try to watch it every day, you'll drive yourself crazy. Your body will reformat. My biggest issue, it started with my waist. It went from 36 to like 34, 33 and a half, 34, like that. So now when I buy my bibs, though, I still buy what Rafa sizes as 36 because it gives me the longest length. And because they're bibs, I don't need the waist to be grabbing. But I think the way they size it is off because even though I'm buying a 36, it's not loose around here. With the straps and everything, it fits me. But I picked the 36 because I'm kind of in between the large and the extra large. And they recommend when you're in between, you size up for bibs because the straps can kind of rescue you. But I like that because the bigger sizes give you long leg lengths. And I'm a tall guy and long shorts just look better on me. But and that works for me with that brand. When you start going with other brands, you got to get the sizing right. But for most of the brands, I do XL. If I buy a Castelli, I do 2XL because the Italian sizes are smaller. You know, so it's really important. I pay particular attention to the sizing because I like my kit to fit well. So yeah, and you know, I don't worry about the weight. I just happen to notice that. So just ride and eat. Don't skip meals. The more you eat, you basically eat your way into a better condition because your body just keeps burning when it knows you're not going to starve it. You start skipping meals, you mess with your metabolism. And that affects how you perform the next time you're on a ride because your body will slow down. It's kind of like taking the log out of a steam engine or something. You know, that's the analogy I can use. Chris Barron, how you doing? Welcome. Ilich Zuniga, welcome, super legend. We appreciate your support. I don't see Chris Rippey here, but he's our legend of the month. So he's getting a brand new pair of Rafa arm warmers. I've got a bunch of these that I got for the channel a long time ago. I'll be giving them out. I'm giving them out to him because he's in California. He can probably use it this time of year in the morning. It's still cool until they go inland. And in the winter, I will do more of those. But we got other things to give to our legends here, our super legends that really keep us going here. We appreciate that. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, Ian said, you're welcome. We need to keep it. Yeah, it is time intensive. It is a labor of love. But what I'm doing, Ian, is that by using the channel has helped broaden the business I'm doing all over the world. Even though I made those bike fit videos and whatever out there, there are still people who still need additional help because the bike fit videos get you close. And then some people still need it. So I started doing remote fit. Now I do the remote fit live video session because I used to do it where I would give them things to do by email. It just took them longer. So now we basically get on a live session using Discord app. And we do a 1-2 hour session and do it. So they get what we get in the studio. I tell them what to do. And it's been really successful. People are purchasing that. So as I work with it more, I add other changes because I had somebody try to do 2 bikes. And I'm like, for 2 hours, we're just doing 1 bike. And so I put on there, if you want to do 2 bike, it's an add-on and stuff like that. Which is anything you do, you've got to accommodate what people want to do. So that's been fun. So hopefully it will get to the point where the channel will become a part of the business. Because what I'm doing is using the channel and the website for the business to work together because the channel's not going away. I truly like the fact that we have this live session and then the group rides are unique because I get a lot of compliments from people all over the world saying that they like the narration. If you've noticed, I've been working with a film editor because a lot of people, not the regular people that are on this session, a lot of people have sent notes to me. Like one guy out of the blue said he'd been watching the group ride for 2 years religiously. And he noticed that maybe 3 weeks ago, he was missing some of the commentary. And I had noticed that too. It's just the volumes are competing with the music and the win and the comments in the group ride from the participants of the ride. And so he said that maybe you should remove the music or do this. He was just, I kind of knew what he meant, but several people had mentioned that. So I went back to the drawing board and focused on audio editing in Final Cut Pro. So I spent 3 days on an online course to master that. And if you notice the last couple of videos, the commentary now is at its own level, and still we're able to keep the music as well as the sound effects from the video. The reason why the sound effects are good is because I don't want it to seem like we're in a vacuum. So I didn't want to lose any of that. So that took me a little bit of, extra training. So that's just the way I am. If I want to do something, I might as well do it right. So now I've got the audio laid out to where there will be no competition with the voiceover, but the voiceover won't drown out everything, but it's just there. And so when I do the voiceover, it's unique. And then when I don't speak, you get the commentary from the people writing, and you also get traffic sounds and the wind and everything. So I've been very pleased with that. So that's kind of good. I just kind of wanted you to know that I'm continually working on it. I listen to all comments. Some of them are kind of crazy, but I appreciate that they're there and I read them. And if it's not something I can incorporate, I still appreciate that somebody took the time to comment. But I do read all the comments and take them into account. And so now the last couple of weeks, the audio has been gradually getting to the point where it's gotten to the point where now there's no competition for the narration. Because without the narration, you don't feel like you know what's going on. Because I've watched other videos on YouTube, and it's like you're just not following the plot per se. So that's kind of cool. Yeah. So, hey, Jamal, is that? Yeah, that's a different, Wilson. Okay, he retracted his message. I thought it was our regular Jamal. Let's see here. Hey, Casper, welcome. Rodolfo Ramirez, super legend, welcome. We appreciate your support. Chris Barron, I have an overnight 180 kilometer ride. Let's see here. Maybe I can increase the size of that. There we go. Okay, having an overnight 180 kilometer ride. I think you meant climbing. Climbing up. Oh, coming up. Okay, coming up end of June with approximately 3,000 meters of climbing, about 1,500 feet, I think, or 9,000, 3 meters, 3 feet per meter. Okay, 3,000 meters, starting at 8 p.m. How would you approach an overnight ride, even if you wouldn't ever do? Oh, yeah, that's a good one. One that I can't answer in detail here. So the best answer I can give you is that you're going to have to change the way you function, your normal schedule, your cycle. If you're planning on riding overnight, then you're going to have to start being up at the time of the ride. Let's say several weeks before the ride. I would say maybe 3 weeks. Because your body has to be used to that. Because if you stay asleep during that period of the ride, right up to the ride, you'll be tired on the bike. It's just hard to do that cold turkey. So what I would suggest is that either you do some trainer workout, at least a week or two before that ride, you're going to have to do your workouts during the nighttime. And that way you're up and riding during that time. So your body gets used to the cycle. The best example I can give is this. For example, if I were to go to the other side of the pond, let's say where Ian is, or Italy or France or wherever, to ride with our time difference, let's say Ian is 6 hours ahead of my time right now. So that means right now it's almost 11 p.m. It's like 22:54 thereabouts where he is. Okay. It's in the evening here. What I would have to do is I would have to say 2 to 3 weeks before I went there. I would have to start getting up at 2 a.m. my time or 1 a.m. my time, because 1 a.m. my time is 7 a.m. in the UK part, depending on which part, 6 hours ahead, and put my body on that cycle of getting up at 2 a.m. and functioning on the time for that area. So you're going to have to try something similar. It's not going to be easy. It's almost like you act like you have a night job, so you're going to have to get up at that time, minimum 2 weeks before, so that you can perform really well. Get up at that time that the ride will start. And even if you're not riding, be up those hours. Not going to be easy if you want to keep your regular. Let's say if you got a job now and you got to go to work in the morning, it's going to be hard to just switch like that. That's the challenge. Now, you don't need to do it cold turkey 3 weeks out. What you can do is start getting up earlier and earlier until you're getting up, and make sure you stay up from that time that the ride will be up. Because you're saying 8 p.m. That means you got to start not going to bed at 8 p.m. You got to start going to bed earlier than 8 p.m. and back up to where you're not sleeping between the hours of the ride from 8 p.m. to the next day. You need to be up. That's the way you approach it. Yeah, I've never had a desire to ride all night. I don't know why they do that. I don't know what that does. I know the guys that would do the race across America, the reason they did that is because you're going from one coast to the other. And what they would do, they would have support to where they had a van or something. And at some point in the night, they would stop and at least sleep for a couple of hours and then get back on the bike. But to just stay up like that, that's what you'd have to do to really go through it comfortably. So I hope this helps you. Casper Jensen, he said he rode his first 200 kilometers yesterday. It's about 162 miles. Congratulations. Bumped up my previous highest 100K. Any suggestion on how to increase average speed without getting fatigued? Average speed again. Average speed is a red herring. Every time I see average speed, I kind of know what you mean. You might want to twist it to say average effort. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I actually had written, let's see here. I've got a lot of things. When I get comments from people send notes from the channel. Some of my customers will send me messages. And what I do is I add them to the list of things I'm considering doing videos on. And I'm going to answer your question, but what I'm going to right now is I have a title for a video that I just added this week. Why speed is not a recommended training metric. That's the title in my mind for the topic, because I do them by concepts. That's why you guys watch my videos. You see there are no lines or anything. I do the concept, and if I know it, I don't need to do research. If I don't, I do additional research, and then I just do the video. So why speed is not a recommended training metric. I kind of know what you mean. You want to increase you want to decrease the duration it took you to finish the ride. That's the same thing we do. I'll do a century. You see all the centuries we do on Saturday? We're doing them faster and faster. This week, I think it was like 6 hours and 7 minutes. When we started, it was 6 hours and 30 minutes. So we're keeping 6 hours as the cap, or the duration. But in that duration, we're covering more kilometers. I think that's exactly what you mean. Don't focus on speed. The reason being is the speed will vary depending on motivation, temperature, how you feel, who's there, the wind, hills, whatever. So it's going to vary. So don't let it hurt your morale if you try to go do another 200K and the time is longer, meaning the time it took to do the 200K. The reason I'm going this route is I don't want you to be discouraged, Casper. If you did another 200K and then, man, I came in slow, remember to pay attention to what was going on in the environment. So if you go and do another 200K, and let's say you were dehydrated, you didn't sleep as well, it was windy, the course was hillier, expect to finish in more time. Now, as far as increasing the distance you cover, or really what you're doing is you're going to be handling it with a higher effort. That's really what happens. For you to increase your average speed, you would need to increase your effort for the 200K. And what took me all this time to come to the reason why I went the roundabout way is I want you to remember the things I've already said, because when that happens, you need to understand why, so you're not discouraged. You need to get a particular plan that will prepare you with endurance workouts for the 200K. Let me find one of our plans here. I will just put the link, and if you think it will help you, you can buy one. I get these questions a lot, and then I've gotten people to come back and say, "Well, I went and did the ride, and I think I was just riding badly." And then I asked, and it turned out they were in gale force winds the next time they went to do the same event, and ignored the fact that the conditions were more challenging, or it was raining, or it was cold. You know, you can't ignore that. Because morale is important. It starts in the mind. If you're not pumped up, you're not likely to push yourself. Let me find you a plan that I think will help you, because you need endurance. I will just give you the endurance workouts, because it sounds like you already know what you're doing. You don't necessarily need a coaching plan per se. And I've gotten a lot of requests. That's why I built them. Paul Ilonga always says, build it and they will come. Because I've been getting all these questions, and it was taking me a while to handle them. And he said, just go ahead and put those workouts out there. So here is the link to the endurance workouts. There are different kinds of workouts out there. I want you to read the write-up on them as far as the purpose of each workout. And what you need to increase your speed per se, or the time it will take you to do it, to improve the time, you need endurance workouts that have intensity in them. So take this link and look at, this is for Casper. And I got them to where they're affordable, so you just want to grab one workout. But what I would recommend, that's the link for all the endurance workouts. So what I would recommend is you do the endurance with tempo and threshold workouts. It's listed on there. That's the one I think you need to start with. The one with the crisscross is a lot more intense. You know, that's for people doing long road races. So the endurance with tempo and threshold workouts are perfect for people like you who want to improve the time. Then once you get through that, you want to do even more, then you can go to the next one. But that's what you need, because you'll be focusing on pushing your body as opposed to worrying about the speed that will be produced by the environment. Because you can be going up a hill and going slow and still going hard. So remember that. So when you're trying to look at how well you're doing, look at your effort. Unless it's the same exact course, but even on the same exact course, the conditions might be different, windier, hotter, or whatever. So remember that. Okay. So let me move from that. I hope that will help you. Hey, Jeffrey, welcome. I'm getting a lot of workout. I'm glad I built those workout plans, because I've been getting these on the website. There's a contact. In fact, I ended up moving the contact us button and put it under the about link, because I was getting a bunch of these. So Durant just asked something similar. Let me find the workouts for that. He's talking about increasing VO2 max. So what this tells me is he's either been coached for a while, or he's an experienced rider, but now he needs specific workouts. Let me pull up the VO2. Yes, I've got some plans that I built workouts for. All these workouts are workouts that I have done or I do myself. So they're not just something that I just put out there. I actually do these and have done these. So for VO2, I have a category for VO2 actually. Let's see. Let's go to, let me find it here. Anaerobic endurance recovery. I actually have 2 workouts I recommend for VO2. And let's see which one you should start with. They're both pretty good. They're both about the same price. You can start with either one of these. I'll just give you the whole category here. There are 2 workouts in that category for the link I just put there. VO2 efforts and the ramped VO2 intervals. The VO2 efforts are a good introduction into VO2 workouts, so I would recommend you start with that. And then when you need something more intense, you go to the ramped VO2 intervals. Those are the ones that have VO2 plus surges. That's a lot of the efforts that are used by racers. But because not everybody is racing, so I put 2 different kinds in there. But that will work for you. Let's see here. So, I see Paulie Longer. Hey, Paul, you were right. I've gotten more of the workout question is a lot easier now to answer now that I've spent the time to build. It took me a while to build those things, so I'm glad that they're there. I've got other things I'm going to roll out there. I get a lot of questions from people who are saying that I've been sitting on the couch and I want to just get in shape for this 50-kilometer ride, 30-mile ride that's coming up. How quickly do I get there? And I don't have a whole lot of time. Everybody wants to get fast, but they don't have time, right? So I'm trying to come up with a minimalist approach to handle, 50 kilometers. That's the thing I'm working on. So that's great. Let's see here. All right, Durant, that link was for you. Jamal Wilson, he said, "Hey, Audrey, what's your take on weightlifting while cycling? I love bodybuilding, but it's kind of hard to do both, so I've backed up the weights a little." Jamel, I'm sorry I mispronounced your name. I think it's Jamel. The first thing I'm going to do before I answer your question, I'm going to find the video that I made. I always have trouble finding that video because I've changed the title a couple of times. It's a video that focuses on the kind of workouts in the gym that enhance cycling. And as I look for it, I can speak to it. When you say bodybuilding, I presume you're building muscle and so forth, because a lot of bodybuilders, depending on what they're preparing for, they have phases where they do a lot of reps, then they do shorter reps to grow the muscle. So for cycling, you don't want to do those power parts of your bodybuilding. You want to do the ones where you're doing high reps, 12, 15, 20 reps, whatever. I don't do the gym anymore because I have a tendency to get bulky. And one thing about cycling is, even though you can get some gains in the gym, you can also grow muscles that don't really transfer when you're on the bike. So you're just carrying, it's like carrying luggage. So I'm glad you asked the question, because you want to do a lot of long intervals in terms of when you're doing long reps. I say 12 to 15, 20 to 25 is even better. But then you want to do specific exercises for cycling, meaning that squats, lunges, and so forth, to build the power in the legs with those high reps. In cycling, you don't need a massive upper body. That's just weight you're going to be carrying, especially when the road goes up. So if you notice, a lot of cyclists some of them, especially the professionals, so I was watching the Giro, some of those guys, their arm look like little pencils that you can just snap. I don't like that look. You need to look healthy. That's just me. But but the reason is that they don't use the upper body, and you shouldn't. When you're riding, most of the time it's the lower body. The upper body should be relaxed, unless when you stand to pull on the bars. There's a joke where we used to say that the only upper body strength you need is enough to be able to lift your bike to put it on the rack, on your bike rack. That's pretty much it. And that's one way to look at it, because you don't use a lot of that. Now, that depends on the discipline. I'm talking road. So if you're talking track, a lot of the track sprinters, their events are short. So they want maximum power. So a lot of them, yes, some of them even look like bodybuilders. So if you took those guys off the track and put them on a long road race, they would have problems, because a lot of them don't work on a lot of endurance. They work on quick bursts, sprinting the kilo and different that. So different events. So if you're riding, say, road stuff, 2 hours, 3-hour rides, whatever, just all around, then yeah, you want to be all around. I'm not saying that weight training is bad, because it's good to have general conditioning to where you got to work on your core. And that's the kind of weight training you want to do. So let me find this video for you, because it covers it. It is like everything in training, since you've been bodybuilding, it's not simple. We don't have enough time to cover it here. Especially, I try to make sure people are not confused. So let me find the exercise for cyclists. I think that's what I called it. Let me just find that video. But what I would say is that for you being already a bodybuilder, you need to spend more time specifically on the bike, taking that bodybuilding strength and making it cycling specific, because you're coming with strength already. So if you really want to get into the bike, then you got to invest more time, because it's very sport specific. You're not going to get fast on the bike working in the gym all the time. You got to work in the gym, like especially us in the winter, we'll do more gym work, but then we'll bring it to the bike to kind of get those muscles to fire in a cycling specific manner. Hope you know what I mean. So don't, if you're training for a cycling, ride more. Spend less time in the gym, and then maybe in the off season you can go back into it, but don't get bulky. Try to be lean like a greyhound or a cheetah or something like that. Build a lot of flexible, like a limber kind of body. That's what you want. Let's see. Best gym workout for cycling. So I hope that helps you. Let me find this video for you because I really covered it there. People have asked about that. So even in the winter, I don't spend a lot of time in the gym. I use the total gym in my studio. That's what I work out with. I don't do weights anymore because the total gym uses your body weight and it's almost like calisthenics while you build strength. Let's see this. I always have trouble finding it. It's here somewhere. I just gave it to somebody else. I want to look for it so you won't have to worry about it. But that's the approach, though. You got to ride the bike. You got to take, get in a big gear, turn it. The workout that I'm giving these guys, that's what you would need. You need some what we call anaerobic intervals to build top end power. But really, if you're coming into cycling new, you need endurance. You need to take those muscles that you have and teach them how to fire longer. That's what you start with. Not sure why I'm not finding it. I've changed the name of that video a couple of times because it was like it's always been difficult to find. I don't know if I called it exercises. Let's see. Exercises. I think best cycling exercise is what I called it. So you can go up to the channel page because I'm having trouble finding it, but it's in there. Go to the channel page and look under the training section and look at the training playlist. It's on there, and you will see the workout for cyclists, the best gym workout for cyclists. I will keep looking because I'm having trouble finding it. I'm just searching the whole database here, so it's a lot harder to find. Okay, let's see here. John Hill, that's John Hill, super legend. Thank you for the super chat. He said, please accept this super chat as a token of appreciation for the content that you put out. I wish I could listen, but I have to get back to work. I will watch the video later. Peace. Thanks, John. Take care. Jamal, you're welcome, Jamel Wilson. I'm trying to find that video because it drives me nuts that I can't find it. I know I changed it to something intuitive. Best exercises for cycling. I see them pulling up on the history here, but it's like I want to find it because I think you will really enjoy it. The way the format was neat. It was during the winter when I did it a couple of years ago, but it still applies. And let's see here. Hey, Jeffrey, welcome. Jeffrey says, speed is a big issue with a group I ride with. They're obsessed with pace or speed. That's good. I think I will do that video. I already have it on the list, Jeffrey, because people, not just the group you ride with, even the people around it, everywhere. With the advent of Strava, everybody wants to look at average speed to give the ride value, which means nothing. I'll give you an example. I go out on Tuesday sometimes and I'll do 8 sprints. When I sprint, I go for 20 to 30 seconds, the same workout that I have on the channel, on the website. 20 to 30 seconds, I'm out of the saddle sprinting in, let's say, 53:15. And I always sprint somewhat I like to sprint uphill because I'm not worried about top end speed. I'm worried about strength because I already got speed as far as spinning the gear out. So for 20 to 30 seconds, keep this in mind. Out of the saddle for 20 to 30 seconds, that's a very long time. And so the reason I do that is I always did that when I raced. When you're opening gaps, if you go really hard for 20 to 30 seconds, the only people going with you are other hard men. So that means when you get a breakaway started, you've got people who can work with you. No poser will be able to go that hard for 20. You go in max 20 to 30 seconds. Then you sit down and spin the gear as hard as you can for another 30 seconds. That's my sprint workout. I do about 8 of them. Maybe I warm up for 20 minutes, then I do it. In less than an hour, I'm done. My average speed for the ride, 22 kilometers an hour. What is that? 14 miles an hour, whatever. But what it doesn't tell you is that when I'm doing those sprints, I might be hitting 30 plus miles an hour. You see, that's the thing. So you can do average speed. Same thing in a group ride. The group may average, say, 33, 35 kilometers an hour, which is probably about 21, 22, let's say, on the flat areas like Florida or whatever. But what it does not tell you is that parts of that ride, they were hitting 30-something, 32, whatever, or more, which is very hard. And then they backed off because that's a road race, yo-yo, whatever. Like our ride, we'll average maybe anywhere 18 to 20. But parts of the ride, we're climbing a 3% plus climb at 37, 38 kilometers an hour, which is pretty hard, depending on the conditions, of course. It is those sections, those efforts that you have to prepare yourself for and not worry about the overall average speed. Because if you go hard enough in those sections and you do enough of them, just like when you're doing time trial training, you have to piece together. That's why people do intervals. You piece together the body's ability to go hard for 1 minute, rest, do it again. If you do that frequently enough, you'll be able to go hard for longer periods of time. And so that's what's more important, but people get hung up on speed. And what's the average speed? The average speed means nothing. Now, on the contrary, you can sit in a group and the group's just rolling along and you're not even pulling, you're just sitting in. And your average speed might be 34 kilometers an hour. It does not mean you rode very hard. Keep that in mind. That's how come the pros can ride these tour stages for 3 weeks. Not all the riders are riding hard every day. Some of them sit in because that's their day to take it easy and wait for their objective. So don't get hung up on people looking at the value of a ride by average speed. That's why I also talk about don't get hung up on whether somebody got dropped and say, oh, I'm riding better. No, focus on you. If your goal for that ride was to say, do Zone 4 workouts and see how you could tolerate it, and you were able to do that, then that's a good ride for you. You accomplished your goal. That's all that should matter. It doesn't matter if when you did your effort, somebody attacked. It's a group ride. Nobody wins. So if you know you wanted to do 4 or 5 minute Zone 4 efforts during the group ride, when you get to the front, you get in that zone. If you were able to accomplish that, it doesn't matter what happened because that wasn't your goal. Now, if that bothered you enough because after I pulled, these guys attacked me, then the next time you make your goal to be, okay, I'm not going to pull for 5 minutes. I'll pull for 2 minutes because I know these guys like to attack, and now I'm going to counterattack them when they're done. And if you're able to do that, then you pat yourself in the back because you accomplished your goal. I hope you guys are following me. Every experienced rider, they got their own goals. It's not based on anybody else if they know what they're doing. Because somebody might come to that ride today to say, oh, I fell off the bike. Like I just found out one of our buddies, Alan. I went to his shop yesterday to get my daughter's car inspected. And I just found, we didn't know, he didn't tell us. He fell off his bike. I'm sure Paul's just hearing it for the first time. And he hurt his ribs. So for the last month or so, he hasn't been riding. So when he comes back, he told me, I'm going to come back. I told him he needs at least 3 months to really heal. So he's about halfway there. So I told him, don't hurry back. Just come back when you're ready, and then you just sit in. So look at that. His goal when he comes back will be first few rides to sit in, till he heals completely. So everybody has different reasons when they come to the group ride. So unless you go and pay money for a race to go race, group rides are not the place where you're going to say, oh, yeah, no, I kicked his butt or I did whatever. No, go to a race where everybody's coming to race. Then it matters. So I don't know how I got into that, but I think we're talking about average speed. Yeah, don't worry about average speed. It doesn't mean anything. What I look at the time. And if the conditions are not that bad compared to the last time, I look at how long it took us to finish the same course or the same distance. If the conditions are not that drastically different, that's what I look at. How was I feeling in this zone today versus the last time we did it? Then I look at what zones did I hit? How much time did I spend in zone 4? How much time did I spend in zone 3, zone 2, zone 5? That's what I look at. I look at how long I worked at different effort levels to know what my body is adapting to. So if I spend 2 hours in zone 4, then the next time I'm in a ride and someone attacks, and let's say it's zone 4, I'm going to be really relaxed. I know I can ride in zone 4 for 2 hours. That's how you do it. That's what training is. You get to know what you're able to do. And then if you can't spend that much time in that zone, then you go back, you use like the workouts I'm giving these guys. You use a workout to get your adaptation there. That's what people talk about when they say, go ride with a fast group. What you use that for is to say, okay, I need somebody that will make it easy for me to push myself, because a group always makes it easy to push yourself. So I can get used to this zone that's troubling me. And then you do it gradually. That's what that's about. So it's very complicated. It's never the same. It's always, I think there's a comment. There's a site called Veloharmony. I got the link. I already knew about the site, but I got a link recently from my show. The guy who came here from Florida for a fit. He sent it. There's a site where they call themselves Keepers of the Cog. I'm going to put the link here because I think you guys will get a kick out of it. There's 1 or 2 things in there, but those of you who are sensitive to language, there's 1 or 2 things where they're not using a 4-letter word or anything, but it's like adult language. It's not anything that bad, but there's one of the rules where they're telling people to harden up and they get a little colorful. Let me see if I can find it on here. Let's see. It's on V right there. Right here. Okay, here we go. I think you would get a kick out of this site. It's funny, but they're cyclists. It's not a joke. They're serious about it. Sometimes a bit too serious. Where the rules, I will just read some of the rules here. Rule number 1 says they've got a picture of Eddie Merckx and Roger de Vlaming, and they look like they're riding on some crappy road in Belgium or somewhere. It's muddy, and they look dirty. De Vlaming's face is all dirty. That's the link for the site I'm talking about. And it says that they're keepers of the cog, the Veloharmony site. So the rules. Rule number 1, obey the rules. Okay. Rule number 2, lead by example. Then it said, under that rule, it says, it is forbidden for someone familiar with the rules to knowingly assist another person to breach them. Rule number 3, guide the uninitiated. No matter how good you think your reason is to knowingly breach the rules, it is never good enough. Rule number 4, it is all about the bike. Then the caption said, it is absolutely without question, unequivocally about the bike. Anyone who says otherwise is obviously a twat waffle, whatever that means. Now, rule number 5, harden the F up. Rule number 6, free your mind and your legs will follow. And the caption says, your mind is your worst enemy. Do all your thinking before you start riding your bike. Once the pedals start to turn, wrap yourself in the sensations of the ride, the smell of the air, the sound of the tires, the feeling of the light as the bicycle rolls over the road. I thought that was cool. Rule number 7, tan lines should be cultivated and kept razor sharp. Under no circumstances should one be rolling up their sleeves or shorts in an effort to somehow diminish one's tan lines. Sleeveless jerseys are under no circumstances to be employed. Rule number 8, saddles, bars, and tires shall be carefully matched. Valid options are match the saddle to the bars and the tires to black, or match the bars to the color of the frame at the top of the head tube, and the saddle to the color of the frame at the top of the seat tube, and the tires to the color where they come closest to the frame, or match the saddle and the bars to the frame decals, or black, black, black. That means tires, saddles, bars should be black. Bar tape. Rule number 9, if you are out riding in bad weather, it means you're a badass, period. Fair weather riding is a luxury reserved for Sunday afternoons and wide boulevards. Those who ride in foul weather, be it cold, wet, inordinately hot, are members of a special club of riders who on the morning of a big ride pull back the curtain to check the weather. Upon seeing rain falling from the skies, allow a wry smile to spread across their face. This is a rider who loves the work. Rule number 10, it never gets easier. You just go faster. As this famous quote by Greg LeMond tells us, the spell is named LeMond. That's kind of a spin on it. Tells us training, climbing, and racing is hard. It stays hard. To put it another way, per Greg Henderson, training is like fighting with a gorilla. You don't stop when you're tired. You stop when the gorilla is tired. I got some colorful words after that. I'll let you guys read that on your own. Rule number 11, family does not come first. The bike does. Sean Kelly being interviewed after the 84 Amstel Gold Race spots his wife leaning against a Citroen. He interrupts the interview to tell her to get off the paintwork, to which she shrugs. In your life, the car comes first, then the bike, then me. Instinctively, he snaps back. You got the order wrong. The bike comes first. Rule number 15. No, rule number 14. I'm sorry, rule number 13. Oh, how did I jump ahead? Okay, family. Rule number 12. The correct number of bikes to own is N plus 1. While the minimum number of bikes once you own is 3, the correct number is N plus 1, where N is the number of bikes currently owned. The equation may also be rewritten as S minus 1, where S is the number of bikes owned that will result in separation from your partner. Rule number 13, if you draw the race number 13, turn it upside down. Rule number 14, shorts should be black. Team issue shorts should be black, with the possible exception of side panels, which may match the rest of the team kit. Rule number 15, black shorts should also be worn with leaders' jerseys. Black shorts, or at least standard team kit shorts, must be worn with championship jerseys and race leaders' jerseys. Don't overmatch your kit or accept that you will look like a douche. Rule number 16, respect the jersey. Championship and race leaders' jersey must only be worn if you have won the championship or led the race. Rule number 17, team kit is for members of the team. Wearing pro team kit is also questionable if you're not paid to wear it. If you must fly the colors of pro teams, all garments should match perfectly. That means no Mape jersey with Kelme shorts and telecom socks. Rule number 18, know what to wear. Don't suffer kit confusion. No baggy shorts and jerseys while riding the road bike. No lycra while riding the mountain bike, unless you're racing. Skin suits only for cyclocross. Introduce yourself. Rule number 19. If you deem it appropriate to join a group of riders who are not part of an open group ride and who are not your mates, it's customary and courteous to announce your presence. Introduce yourself and ask if you may join the group. If you've been passed by a group, wait for an invitation, introduce yourself, or let them go. The silent joiner is viewed as an ill-mannered and anti-V. Conversely, the joiner who can't shut their cake hole is no better and should be dropped from the group at first opportunity. Rule number 20, I'm going to stop there because that rule goes on all the way to, I think, 30-something. Some of these rules are a bit ridiculous. Some of them make sense, and some of them I'm sure just for fun. What it said, cold weather gear is for cold weather. Rule number 21, knickers, vests, arm warmers, yada, 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 can all make you look like a hard man when the weather warrants their use. If it isn't wet or cold, save your Flandrian vest for Flemish weather. So I don't know how I got onto the Veloharmony, but I got the link from that guy. I'd seen it a long time ago. I got a jersey through this site called the Inner Ring that I've worn a few times. And I just like that. You know, the Inner Ring is a website, a blog that just focuses on inside cycling information. What's going on in Belgium or wherever inside the cycling world. They get down and dirty and do a lot of good reporting. So it's a good site to check out. So check out the Veloharmony. I think you get a kick out of it. They got some crazy rules. It goes up to like 50-something. So some of it is funny. Some of it is kind of crazy. All right. Yes, Jeffrey says, I'm considering video and light post-production, mainly to assess streaming. Will Verb and OEM GoPro software be enough? Ordering a cam soon. Well, it depends on what you're doing. He said video and light post-production. No, because the Verb edit video is really inadequate for any post-production. I only use the Verb Edit video to synchronize my data to the film, and then I'm done with it. And I import my production video into Final Cut Pro. So if you're doing something to where it's really lightweight, then I recommend that you use iMovie. iMovie is free. It comes on the Apple products. iMovie is a good introduction into maybe down the road doing the professional stuff like Final Cut, or they have Adobe, Premiere. But for serious production, most people are using the stuff they use in Hollywood, your Final Cut Pro or Adobe Production. And you have to buy those. But iMovie will work if you're just doing something light. But you can use the Verb Edit for syncing your data. That's about it. The GoPro software, I didn't even bother using it. I bought the camera. I've never even bothered using their software. Not to even mess with the camera. They give you some app that you put on your phone to control the camera. I just do everything on the camera. GoPro software is not, they have not invested in the software. The hardware, yeah, but not the software. So no, for production, what we call timeline production, start with iMovie. It'll be good for what you've described there. And it's free on all the Apple products. I don't know if they work on Windows. I doubt it. But you can find something probably comparable, But I used iMovie for a while, and I saw it was inadequate, and then I went and purchased Final Cut Pro. But that's what you would use. Appreciate the super chat, Jeffrey. Yeah. Here we go. Lesson learned. I've been experiencing mild post-training headaches. The reason, cinching my helmet on too tight for my fellow yearlings. I don't know. That's weird. I've never had what I do with my helmet is I just let the thing in the back, I make sure it comes down and cradles the lobes back here, and I just get them to where they're snug, because that's what keeps them on your head. That strap is just so they don't fall off if you fall. In fact, when Alan had his fall that he told me about this week, I was there yesterday, he said he heard his helmet hit the ground. His fall was really a freak accident. And a lot of accidents happen. People think, oh, it's about cars. You're not wearing a helmet because of cars. Let's be honest. If a car hits you full on, that helmet's not going to do a whole lot. It's a lot of single bike accidents. He had an accident on a bike-specific trail that's built for just cyclists and other people using. He said it was kind of careless. Actually, he was changing water bottles. He finished one bottle, and he was going to put the bottle from the front on the back cage, and he was hands-free riding, and the pavement was about maybe 2 inches above the dirt to the right. And he was hands-free riding to switch the bottle and wasn't paying attention, and the front tire went off the road, and it just flipped him and flung him. So his ribs, he hurt his ribs and all the little muscles. It was a twisting fall, but it was something that he was with other cyclists on a trail that Houston just built. He's told us about it. It's a nice trail. So yeah, you can fall anytime. That's the reason I talk about reading the road. You've got to pay attention. So it's just one moment of inattention, and his front tire left the pavement. And once that tire, the front is your real weak point, and it just flipped him. In fact, he said it was nothing wrong with the bike. He straightened the handlebars, and he was able to ride to his car, I guess on adrenaline. But once he found out his ribs were hurt, the next day, of course, he was sore. But yeah, it's important. I wouldn't ride without a helmet. It just makes sense. It's just, I've seen enough. I've seen the helmet save people. And it just makes sense, even if I hadn't seen it, because your head's going to hit the ground. You might as well have that foam on there. So Robert Tangler says, hello, good people. Curious, any updates on the Mini Cooper? Oh, my daughters. Yeah, great question. We were able to find a good copy. The Mini Cooper was totaled. When the guy hit the back, it was cheaper for them to just total the car. So we were fortunate because when we bought the car, I guess the people didn't know a whole lot about it, but the deal we got, we were not underwater. So we were ahead. So we were pretty much restored. And we went ahead between the time the accident happened and last Friday, we picked up a new Mini. We got her a Countryman. Not for any particular reason other than the fact that my daughters always liked a Mini. We're going to get her a Mini. And so But we found a countryman with 11,800 miles when normally they're going. There was a 2016. Normally they're 37,000 miles. The average mileage of the Mini Cooper that in that year. And so when I did the Kelly Blue Book thing, their price was about $4,000 outside of the Blue Book value. And I just believe that we got lucky because we purchased the car on the 31st of May, and the guy admitted that he wanted to get it off his inventory, whatever that means for them, I guess. I don't know if they taxed them for it, whatever. But he wanted to make the deal happen. And I don't think they knew what they had. It was a Mazda dealership in Houston here, Gilman Mazda. And I think someone may have traded it in. They didn't know where the battery was, we got there because the car had been sitting for a while, I could tell. They had been asking for too much money. So it had been sitting for a while. And so when he brought it out, I was going to go check the battery. I would take my voltmeter. It was like 11 something. I said, it's kind of low. You guys will need to charge it. So I asked them to charge it and change the oil because 11,000 is going to look at the other owner may not have done it. I didn't care. So they said they would do that if we could make a deal, but they didn't want to budge on the price. They want me to give them a number. I said, no, you give me your bottom line. I got to go talk to my manager. I said, well, go talk to whoever you need to talk to. When you're done talking, send me a text. I got to go. I was like, if you got to talk to your manager, I don't need to deal with you. Let the manager come stand here. So the manager ended up contacting me. And so over a course of 3 days, after Memorial Day, it was like Memorial Day was the Monday. And then that Tuesday, we went to see the car. And so from Tuesday till Friday, they were texting me and sending emails or whatever. And all I told them was, here's the book value that I found online. I know you've got to make a margin. I said, but you're not going to make all of it on this car. So I want something that's in this range. And so we were able to get a deal where with tax title and everything, we're about $1,000 outside of book value, which I thought was a deal because taxes at least $1,600. So once we got the car, I took it to Alan yesterday to get him to check it to make sure drivability and everything was good because Alan services BMW and he knows me and May by the same company. Well, anyway, he basically told us, you guys stole this car because apparently we were at least 5K below where they're going for that mileage in that year. And so I said, okay, it's a pretty good deal. We weren't in a hurry because I was prepared to drive my daughter around until we found the car. So when you're buying a car or anything major like that, don't be in a hurry because they can tell. Because he could tell I didn't care to play that stupid games. This nonsense about talking to the manager. That's the oldest thing they've been doing. You got to talk to the manager. I don't need to talk to you. Let the manager come. I drove to your dealership. So we got a good copy, 11,800 miles, practically new. That's the way to buy these cars anyway. But it's just amazing how much depreciation. 3 years old, maybe in Houston, that's like 1 year mileage of 12,000 miles in Houston. You put that on a car in no time. So I don't know where it came from or whatever, but maybe Alan said maybe somebody who had multiple cars. Wasn't driven much. He put it on the rack. We looked on it. Everything looked new. So he's like, good. So because he's going to service the car. So I always take it there so he can get the service history started. That way when those lights come up, we just get them maintained. But yeah, so no, that's good. All good. It worked out. It's a spacious car. Actually, I drove it to Allen. I was like, man, this car drives well. So down the road, hopefully I'll get myself one. I like the way it drives. It's a nice little car. It'd be perfect for putting a bike rack on because it's easy to reach the top. It's a short little car. But it's almost like a small SUV now. The Countryman, that's the one she has now. Countryman, and it had an S on it, which means it's got turbo or whatever. So I told Alan, I said, that's more stuff that can break. He said, it'll be all right. So that's kind of, so yeah, so that's all good there. We're able to find, that's the biggest thing. We're waiting for a low mileage one because when you get those cars, especially the Mini, Alan had told me that once they get above 75,000 miles, then you're at the point where you need to replace gaskets and other things engine-wise. Doesn't mean the car's going to fall apart, but the labor, you guys know, to get in there. So it's an investment. So you don't want to get a car almost 90,000 miles unless you plan on just making the deal to where you can cut down the money and then go get those things because they just at that point they need to be replaced or you start having leaks and other stuff like that. So now with 12,000 miles, that's a lot of years. So I told her, I said, enjoy. Nobody bought me a car at 20. So she's, but you know, that was kind of good. Yeah, it's all good. She's doing fine. You know, the therapy's done. She's done with the therapy, so she's fine. She had a little problem with her knee. They got that sorted, so that's good. Thanks for asking, Robert. Let's see here. Jeffrey says, I think that's it. I watched it a week ago. I'm not sure what he's talking about. Probably something I talked about earlier. Jamel Wilson, I think I'm going to have to buy a 12-week program. I need to give myself a total cycling chip so I can cover up. Jamal, yeah, you know, I wasn't going to try to push the plans. I hope you're still here. I know it took a while to get to that. Since you asked about workout, point to the workout. Look, if you want to get in shape, now it depends on where you are. I would say start with the off-season plan, the off-season builder, because they're progressive. The off-season builder will take you to the preseason and the in-season. And the way I've done it is by the time you get to the in-season, you'll be able to put together your own little mixture cocktail when you got an event coming, because the events will come at different times. And based on what you just said, if you're just starting, the base plan is not easy. A lot of guys here have gotten it, but that's where you would start. And the reason is that with the plan, I've already configured the workouts and built in rests, because you can't just train all year. You got to have times when you back off. So the rest is already there. So get the base plan and then start with that so you can get solid. Yeah, that's the way to go. So definitely, yeah. Noah Sanchez liked Rule 5. I'm going to go back. They said Rule 5. I think that must be the one that said harden the F up. Yeah. Yes, a lot of times on rides, I think about that, like these guys when they say, oh, it's raining, I don't want to go out. Yeah. Get out of here. If it's a day off for me and it's raining, it doesn't matter. But if that's a day to ride, unless it's dangerous, I'm going out. It's hard to sit on the trainer for 6 hours. I mean, come on. I was like, torture. So no. All right, let's see here. Wesley Stevens, super legend. He said, greetings. You've probably discussed this in a video on a live event on your long rides, 5+ hours with temps above 23C. How often do you reapply sunscreen? I don't reapply. I just put it on in the morning. I use the Copper Tune SPF 30 sunscreen. It's very, very nice and cool. And I just happened to get that one because my wife was using it. And I tried it, and it went on really cool. It wasn't greasy. I had some kind of sport cream specific for sport. It was just very greasy. I like the Copper Tune because it goes on cold and you forget you've got it on. Or you can use arm screens. I have a pair of arm screens I'm yet to use because really the time we're riding, by the time we get back, it's just getting to the hottest part of the day. 23C, yeah, that's not that bad actually. But he said above 23, so could be anything. At about 30C, you start hitting the 90s now. It really kicks in. But yeah, just anything like whatever SPF grade you want, but stick with the Copper Tune. It goes on cool. You don't need to reapply because it really, I just put it on like lotion. You don't need too much anyway, but it just gives you good protection. If you're extra sensitive, then use arm screens. You saw Doug wearing his. Paul Age wears longer jerseys sometimes for that. But I have arm screens as well because this time of year, yeah, you got to be careful. You can get burned. But yeah, I don't carry it with me. Now, if you need to reapply, you'd probably have to put some in a baggie or something, and then maybe at the stop you could do that. But I've never reapplied them. All right. So Ian asked about the team kit. Yes, the team kit has arrived, and you let the cat out of the bag because we decided that we're not going to show it to you guys. You get to see it in action on Saturday. But he really didn't because I told Daryl it was here. I shipped Daryl's yesterday, priority mail today. So I wanted him to get it before the weekend. I don't know if he's back riding yet after his accident. But the team kit is so awesome that I've already talked to the wife. We got to get the shorts because the shorts, if you guys have seen Astana, the Astana team, I was watching the Giro. The Astana team, they used, if you look at the color of Jeffrey Davis's Super Chat, whatever that color is, it's kind of like a teal. Astana jersey is teal, and then the bottom of the shorts has the teal, like a chevron. That's how our shorts are. So the color, that red-orange, will be at the bottom of the Rafa Pro Team shorts. That's the next piece we're going to get. We have an order for the long sleeve one, but we don't have enough to get the whole batch. So we're closer to getting shorts than we are the long sleeve Aero. We're going to get the long sleeve Aero and the midweight, which you can wear most of the year except for the hottest temps. So the first one we got for the hottest temps, the Flyweight Classic. You guys will love it because it blends great with black shorts. And then when we get the kit, it will work. Then we'll get arm warmers down the road. So yes, you will see it Saturday in all its glory. And we discovered that it works well with a pair of La Passion socks that we got. Because that orange, there's so many different shades of orange. It's not even the orange. It's not even close to the orange on my bike. You know, it's like a red orange. And that's what Rafa calls the color. Closer to red than it is to orange. So it's very unique. And just the way we designed it, I'm just thrilled. You know, so yes, it's here. You will see it on Saturday. Let's see here. Robert Tangler, good to hear your daughter's doing. Yes, she's doing fine. She's going to summer school. We try to keep her busy. She's going to summer school at HBU. It's cheaper for her to be at home than to stay on that dorm in the summer. That school is expensive. So she's driving there every day to do one class. She's doing a class where they offer them in off semesters. And if she didn't do them now, when it's time for her to graduate, she'd have to wait a whole semester to take that class to graduate. So she's doing it this summer to get it out of the way. Yeah. So let's see here. As bad I'd rather be with the Illuminati than the sucky rules. These guys are having fun. Don't take it personally. Cycling is a fun thing. So they're putting rules together. Pick the ones you like, move with them. I read through some of them. Some of them make sense. As far as the bars, from experience, if you notice all my tape's black, it's hard to keep white tape clean. Even when we raced, they will always have to replace them because after a while, they just get dirty. So from a practical standpoint, I use black leather tape. After every ride, I take a damp rag and I just wipe it down. That's it because it's leather and it'll last for years. Yeah, they cost a little more. They're like $50 if you find them on sale, the Brooks. But they last for so many more years than the other synthetics. So you're still ahead of the game. And they're just low maintenance, have a good patina. They feel really good, even bare hands. My solo rides, I don't ride with gloves. When I'm riding by myself, I just ride hands-free. And so the leather just doesn't slip or anything. So yeah, don't take the rules to heart. They're for fun. Just they're having fun. Check out the whole site. Besides the rules, there are other things in there. So, all right, so let's go. Ian Hunter, when are you riding with Mo and Christian? Yeah, Christian is going to Italy. He's been preparing. He's been riding a little extra. I told you we saw him doing an extra loop. And then what happened is Mo's group, last week only 2 people showed up. So he doesn't know what's going on. I talked to him on Sunday. So I got to find out what they're doing. And maybe in a few weeks we'll visit them. Because I don't know if they just took off for the Memorial holiday or whatever. He couldn't explain why. He and Jerry rode last Saturday. So on Sunday morning, we were riding with him. Even the Sunday group, they're usually 30 or 8 people. And he was like, I don't know where everybody is. So he thinks it's because of the heat. Because a lot of people may get up at 6, maybe do an hour or so, and then go on. Some people, they don't spend that much time outside during the week. Everybody's in an office. And the heat scares them away. That's what he thinks, but he's not sure. So we don't know what's going on with the group. So I'm keeping my eye on them. They do a lot of weekday stuff. They do their Hammerfest on Tuesday as well. And I think he wrote that yesterday. He posted that on Strava. But yeah, so I'll just keep my eye on them when they get a good turnout so we can have something nice to present to you guys. When we ride with more and then we just sit in more. I don't do a whole lot of long pulls or whatever. I just sit in, get the film or whatever. And that's the key to it. Somebody on here, one of you guys said there's a group that they ride with. That's a cafe group. I think it was Jeffrey. I think it was at the premiere. They have a cafe group. Then they have the other group that's really fast. So if you ride with a cafe group and you want to go hard, then you sit at the front more. If you ride with the other guys, then get your work. If you're in the pace line and you're getting your workout, that's good too. So you can have it both ways. All right, let's wrap this up. Jamal Wilson, I've been cycling for about 3 years. I live in upstate New York, so there's no escaping hills. I try to ride at least 100 miles a week. Definitely need a more structured program. The biggest thing is if the hills notwithstanding, the key is the zones. I don't know what you're training with, whether it's heart rate monitor or whatever. The plans assume that you've done a threshold test. So if you haven't done a threshold test, there's a threshold test in there that's offered so that you can do a threshold test and we will help you determine your zones. That way you get your workout zones correct so you know when you're in zone 2 that your numbers are good. That's what matters. And that way you just, after a while, you don't want to just depend on the numbers. You should be able to feel, hey, yeah, I'm in zone 2. You want to do both. You want to be able to recognize zone 2 without seeing the numbers. 2 out of 5, what we call, RPE, the rate of perceived exertion. That will help you. So even when you're riding the hills, you put it in the appropriate gear, you can still be in zone 2, depending on what gearing you have, if you have the proper gearing for your area. You're welcome, Jamel. Welcome to the channel. Ian says because he's killing him up. Nah, I think it's just a matter of timing. The Memorial Day holiday here, we get Monday off, and a lot of people may combine that weekend with the following week and make a long holiday out of it. So they don't have to use a lot of time wherever the employment is. So if you get Monday off and you use Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you can get 2 weekends back to back. I believe that's probably what it was because the weekend before was a holiday. So people probably were out of town. And then, other people got this summer, everybody doing different things. So it fluctuates. But even that, to just get he and Jerry, I don't know what it is. Because Mo I've never seen Mo really go hard yet with all the riding we're doing. He really rides with us recreationally. When he's training for something, then he sits at the front longer. And you feel it because even though you're drafting, Mo's a pretty small guy if you're behind him. And I told Paul about it yesterday. I rode with them on Sunday, and the lady named Katie, she was killing it. And I was like behind her, and she's so low, it was like I was getting no draft. So what I did was I pulled out of the line, waved as a guy named Jesus, a smaller guy. I waved him up there and went behind a bigger guy. And so we get to the light. He was like, what was that all about? I started to tell him that he said, yeah, you're just making an excuse. No, I'm not making an excuse. I said, I'm standing here because of what I did. There's no excuse about it. She admits that, I've been riding a trainer. I got to start riding outdoors more. But she was just motoring and I was getting no draft. And she was going really hard because I had just closed up to her. So some other guy left a gap. So it's a lot of hard, after Saturday's long ride, I didn't plan on going that hard. And so when we did all of that, it was kind of good. I explained to them. And then, but for some reason, throughout the ride, I kept ending up behind Katie. I was telling Paul about it. I told her once, I said, I'm tired of following you. She started laughing because she's just low, very, very low. She's already small, but then when she gets down the drop, she's low. Your position's very low. So, we'll ride with Mo now. I'm keeping tabs on them. Not this weekend. Because I don't know what they're doing. I'll get with them on Sunday and see what they're doing. But we'll switch back and forth. That's what we want to do. Because I got a text from Team II when we hadn't been there in a while. They're like, what's going on? You haven't ridden with us in a while. I was telling more about it. I'm like, so we're gonna alternate and do the best we can to bring them. Yeah. Mo's group is very streamlined, for the most part. And now that Paul's back, I thought we've done a few things. So what we'll do, we'll just sit in with them, film and whatever, because they don't go as far as we do, even though they go hard. They're not doing the 80 milers and so forth. With the heat, they've had to adjust because really you want to do your longer rides when the weather's milder. This time of year is better to just up the intensity, do shorter stuff. That's why we leave early. So I'm getting up at 5 now. And by 6 o'clock, I want to be clipping in 6:15. So I do the prologue clipping and head out. By heading out early, you get a lot of hours before it starts getting warm. So it's not that bad. All right, guys, this has been a great session, great questions. I want to thank all the super chats. Without those guys and all of you that come in and support the channel, the patrons. I don't know. I didn't see Chris Rippey here because he won this Rafa arm warmer. We'll send that to him. I want to thank all you patrons who do our monthly Patreon of the month. I know most of the people that sign up on Patreon are not looking for anything. We just chose to give back. So as the channel has been growing, we're getting more vendors sending stuff, and we'll be keeping the cycling specific stuff for this level of cycling to give away to you guys. So we hope that you guys get through the hump day. I want to thank all of you for coming here. All of you, as Jeffrey says that, be safe when you're out there. Ian, appreciate your support. And all of you. Paulie Lunga, great to have you back. We got to get out there and get up and ramp up our stuff. And we're going to keep the group rides are going to just, the quality is just going to be ramping up. You saw the amount of filming that Paul did. What I'm looking for as we go is to get a lot of the action. That's kind of what I'm looking for. And that's the reason I didn't want to go with more than only 2 guys. After a while, it gets a little old. That's why I like Team RR. Most groups is like Portrait Emotion, but Team RR, they're a bunch of maniacs. So you're surprised every week. And that's why I like running with them. They'll ride themselves in the ground. So I like to point out what you shouldn't do with them, because more of them are too perfect. But yeah, but I know Jeffrey says he can tell the difference, the speed demons. Okay. Gary, you're welcome. We're here. We're here to stay. Stay with the channel. On Friday, I will be releasing a video about the training with this emphasis on speed and all that, and that should help. Okay. So you guys have a good night. Be safe out there. Keep getting those Ks in.